anyways, we'll just get started. So last week we talked about lead generation. We talked about once you got the leads, right? How we should be reaching out and contacting them. We talked about the fact that it takes on average 8 connections to get somebody to do business with you once you have a new lead. So we never want to, obtain a new lead, call them once or shoot them a text message. Oh, they didn't respond to us, and then we throw them away. That's not how we do business. We want to keep reaching out to them, trying to get them to move from captured to connected, and then we'll move them from connected to converted, which is a client. So that is the goal. We always want to be adding people to our database, okay? Last week, we talked about the different touch campaigns. Once you've got that lead, you've added them to your database, you should be doing what's called a 12 by 1, where we're reaching out to them at least 12 times during that first week, a mix of emails, phone calls, and text messages, and even social media connections. Then we're going to move them. If they're still not responding to us, we're going to move them to what we were calling the 8 by 8, but I'm going to rename it to the 1 by 8, which is 1 connection per week for 8 weeks. So for the next 2 months, you're going to reach out to them once a week. And again, that's a mix of calls, text messages, and emails. And then if they're still not responding on that, we're going to roll them over to our 19 plus to connect, which is where they'll remain until they connect with us, until they start responding to us, until we can move them from captured to connected. The details on all those plans are in last week's lesson. You can catch the replay on that. So let's dive into today's. Okay, so let's talk about leads from listings. So last week as well, I talked about that most people have 4 forms of lead generation. It's technically 5. They don't count your database as part of lead generation, which should be where most of your business is coming from, are those leads in your database that you have connection with, your sphere of influence, those people who already know you, love you, and trust you, okay? So that would be the first one you should be diving into. Those people should be on our 36 plus to connect. We talked about our database last month and how we should be connecting with those. So you can go back and watch that replay as well. The next form of lead generation that everybody should be doing is leads from listings, which is why we're starting with that today. Okay. So, lead generation or leads from listings. So remember last week we talked about that it should be systematic. It should have a process. Leads from listings are one of those that may not have a list of weekly activities because it's going to be dependent on when you actually have active listings. Okay. That does not mean that we should not have systems and processes in place for generating those leads and for the follow-up of those leads, because we absolutely should. We should have conversation points or scripts that we commit to our memory for how we're going to communicate with those people as well. The number one thing, leads from listings, is we have to make sure that we have a for sale sign in that property's yard to drive phone calls. Okay. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about how business gets driven from listings into your database. We will talk about how to utilize listings for your open house leads. Okay. Even if open houses aren't one of your forms of lead generation, I would highly recommend that you at least do it for your own listings. And then we're going to talk about how to use that listing to up your marketing game. So again, everything that you do in your business should be in an effort to acquire listings. Okay. Your business should be listing focused. Okay, here's why. Okay, when you look at working with buyers, if you haven't heard this before, this is important. If you look at working with buyers versus working a listing, your buyers are going to be more labor or time intensive. Okay, you've got to take them out and show them properties. To show 3 or 4 properties to one buyer, it's an hour of your time. Your goal should be that a buyer writes an offer on those first 3 or 4 properties that you look at, but oftentimes that's not the case. You're going to show more properties, different appointments. We're hours into this before we even write an offer, okay? So we're going to focus on listings, okay? It's going to take a little bit of work to get your list up and going in the on the front side, but then once it's up, you're going to be driving leads to your database. That's going to free up your time and more time equals appointments, which leads to more closed deals. Okay. Those listings should be driving leads to your business. Okay. I make it a goal for every listing that I have. I want to generate at least 3 legit leads, 3 leads that are going to do business in the next 3 to 6 months. Okay. If you effectively work your listings, they should become lead generating machines. Most of the time I generate more than 3 leads from each listing, but that's always my goal, is a minimum of 3 leads. And of course, that's if the market's moving pretty fast. If it's a slower market or days on market is stretching over that like 30-day mark, you should probably make it a goal that you're getting 3 leads per month from that listing. So just something to think about there. Okay. And oftentimes with listings, okay, when you have a listing, it means that you're getting 2 transactions from 1. Okay, because more often than not, your sellers are selling their property and they're going to buy another home. It's rare that sellers sell a property and they go to renting, or they become nomads and they just drive around in a van all the time. It does occasionally happen, but not very frequently. So most of the time they're going to buy another home. If it's a local purchase, right, if it's in your service area, you should get that purchase transaction. So you should get the listing and the purchase. Okay, if they're not local, work to get the referral to another agent wherever it is that they're moving from, or to, not from, but to. Okay, don't leave anything on the table there. So make sure you're asking the necessary questions to find out what your seller's plans are moving forward. Oftentimes we don't get 2 transactions out of each listing because we fail to ask questions. Okay, some people think that, oh, if they're selling my property, that means that's all they do is sell homes. They don't actually help people buy homes. So they end up going to another agent to help them buy. I can't tell you how many buyers I've worked with that have another agent listing their property because that agent failed to ask the correct questions or communicate that they can help them on the purchase side too. They went looking for another agent to do the purchase. Okay. So be the agent that helps your sellers both sell their home and purchase their home. All right. Anytime you have a listing, you should make sure that you have a sign in that yard as soon as you are able. Okay. This is going to be step 1 of our leads from listings strategy and process. Okay. For most areas, you're going to fall under the National Association of Realtors Clear Cooperation Policy, which states that if you're marketing the property to the public, which would be a sign in their yard, then it needs to be in the MLS within 24 hours. So if I put a sign in the yard today, it should be active to be able to be shown in the MLS tomorrow. That's going to be most areas. But that means that if I'm going live today on a property, I should have had my sign in the yard yesterday, okay, before people can find it online. So get that sign in the yard as soon as possible. If you are in the Barry's service area, which there's 5 counties that fall underneath this, to my knowledge, in at least most of Northern California, Barry's is the only one that falls under this, where they don't abide by the clear cooperation policy. So that would be Solano, Sonoma, Napa, Marin, and Mendocino counties. Okay, they don't fall under clear cooperation, which means that you can put a sign in the yard a couple weeks before you go live on the market. So make sure you're planning that strategically, but you can post it as a coming soon. Okay, if your seller doesn't want a sign, okay, this happens all the time, be understanding, empathize, and find out the motivation why. Okay, we want to find out why they're reluctant to have a sign. And then we want to talk them into a sign in their yard. Okay, we want it for lead generation. That's our main purpose. Okay, the reality is that only it's like 1% of homes sell from a sign call, but our sellers don't know that. Okay, so we want to sell it to our sellers as if it's going to help them sell their home. Let them know that the sign lets their neighbors know that their home is for sale, and that those neighbors may call friends and family to let them know that may not otherwise be looking at homes for sale. Or that sign also catches people passing by. Maybe the neighbor's kid is having a play date and those parents are like, man, I love this neighborhood. I wish a house was for sale. They see that sign, they might want to buy your house, right? So we're going to sell it to the sellers as it's going to help them sell their house. The reality is it could. In addition to that, you want to think about your sign design. Okay, it should be easily viewed by a car driving by, which means less is more on that sign. Okay, also don't forget to put for sale and your name and phone number on that sign. I know it seems basic, but you'd be surprised. Some things that you may not have thought about, okay, when you're designing your for sale signs. People these days are afraid of actual human-to-human contact. So maybe instead of call, right, for sale call, maybe it would be like for sale text or call, right? So they know they can text that phone number. Or maybe adopt a text to code or a QR code that they can scan. Okay, you want people to not be afraid to reach out to your number. Okay, that's something that I've kind of moved to here is that I actually have for sale signs that have a QR code on them or a text to code. So I think they have both. Actually, you can see on the QR code or you can text a text to code where it's like text, 123 to 7717, right? And then when they text that, they get a link to the information about that property. It also, for me, it captures their phone number. Okay, so they feel like they're not reaching out to an actual human. They're like, oh, this is Sly. I can get like all the information on this property, but I capture their phone number when they do that. Okay. So remember too that something to keep in mind is that our statistics say that someone that can see that sign in the yard, okay, right? So another homeowner in the same area that can see that sign in the yard is going to sell their house as well. So use that knowledge to make sure that you're connecting with the neighbors. Okay. And then finally, remember that the sign is bigger than your listing. Okay. It'd be really easy for you to answer your phone and just answer questions about your listing. But every phone call you get, you want to dive into an exploratory conversation. Okay. It's not all about your listing. Ultimately, that's your goal. Get your listing signed, or sold. But if they don't want to buy your listing, find out about that caller. What are they looking for? Right? If they don't want to buy that listing, what kind of property are they looking for? And then how can you take them from that phone call to get in front of them? Get as much information as possible from them before you get off the phone. And then I would make it my goal to set an appointment with them before you hang up. Okay. The appointment should either be to go see your listing or to go see other properties, or the next time you will be calling them to touch base with them. Okay, maybe you're like, oh, perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Let me get you a list of homes that have 4 bedrooms. Since this one just has 3 and you need 4 bedrooms, let me get you a list of all the available homes with 4 bedrooms. Is there anything else that you need in a home besides just 4 bedrooms, like lot size or pool, right? What are those things? Price range, right? Let me send you over that list. What's your email? So I can kick you over that list of homes that are available. And then why don't I touch base with you tomorrow at 3 o'clock? Would that work? So that you can let me know if there's any of those homes on that list that you want to take a peek at, and then we can schedule a time to go see them. How does that sound, right? So we're setting up that appointment. We're setting ourselves up for success. So all that to say is don't underestimate the power of the sign and answering your phone. Okay, any questions about that? All right. Okay. Again, even if one of your lead generation methods is not open houses, I would say don't miss this opportunity with your own listing, at least for the first weekend on the market. Okay, you should be holding the open on your listing for at least that first weekend so that you can use it as a marketing opportunity. Get that listing out there on social media. Advertise the open house, share to your database, invite them to come by and visit, right? Get it everywhere. Get those sign writers on that sign to announce the open house, so that the neighbors or those people driving by that don't take the opportunity to call you, they might open up their, right? We don't want them opening up some other app to contact some other agent. We want them contact where you've got to pay like exorbitant referral fees. We don't want that. We want them to be like, oh, cool, that house is for sale and there's an open house this weekend. I'm going to pop in through that open house, right? So if they don't contact you from your number on the sign, we want them stopping into that open house that first weekend. So if they know there's an open coming, they may hold off contacting another agent that they don't actually know and come see you. Okay, just like we're going to teach for open houses, if we talk about that during our lead gen, or if you've watched any of my videos, I want you to go door knock around the property before the open house. I would say get at least 40 doors. Okay, we want to door knock at least 40. That would be like 10 on either side and 20 across the street. Okay, invite them to your open house. Let them know that there may be increased traffic in the neighborhood due to the open house, and point out that this might be a great time to handpick their future neighbors. Okay, so we still want to host that open house just like we would host a regular open house. And remember, because somebody who sees our for sale sign is going to sell their property, this is helping us to meet those people that are potential sellers. Okay, any questions about making sure that we host those open houses? All right, so sign in the yard, open houses, and then we want to use our listing to be a marketing machine, okay? And remember too that great marketing starts even before the photos are taken, okay? When that listing gets posted all over the internet, it's going to represent you and your business. So make suggestions of things that you want sellers to change. Maybe you want furniture moved. Maybe they need to declutter rooms or bedrooms. Maybe they need to move some furniture out of their house because they have too much. When I talk with my sellers before a listing goes live, I'm always letting them know that we're preparing to sell this property. We're going to get you moved to your new home. So some of the stuff we can go ahead and pack up and put away. People are going to look in your closets. Okay, people are going to look in your kitchen cabinets and your pantry. So if there's things you don't need for the next 6 months, let's go ahead and pack them up. If we're moving into winter, we don't need our summer clothes, pack those up, right? Whatever that might be. And then make suggestions. It's amazing to me the number of people who push their beds against like 2 walls. So they're like in the corner. So I always recommend like pull the bed away from the wall, right? Because what happens when you shove it against the wall, then people think, oh, there's not enough room in here for a bed, even though you've got 10 feet when you walk in the door of empty space. So if you pull that away from the wall, it just gives the feeling of more space. Maybe they've got 3 dressers in a bedroom. Let's take one of those out, okay? Or maybe when you walk through their living room, you've got to like dodge through furniture to get to the backyard or to get to the kitchen. Let's figure out a better layout for their furniture so that people can move freely throughout their house when they come and look at it. Okay, we want to take care of things like that. When we get those photos done, right? So we want all this done before photos, because when we get those photos done, we want the house to shine. And on that note, just as a reminder, always have professional photography done. Do not take your own photos. I don't care how good you are with your phone. I don't care how good you are, like pay for photos. It's not that expensive. Okay. Because remember, our future sellers, right? Future clients are looking at your online presentation of your existing listings as references. So we want to make it shine because we want them to understand that we're going to do the same thing for their house. Okay. In addition to the presentation, the marketing blurb is also important. Okay, move beyond the boring description of the features of the house. Okay, it's not, oh, look, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in North Vacaville with a pool. Enjoy swimming in the pool in the summer. Come see the property, right? We don't want that. We want the blurb to stand out. We want to describe the lifestyle of living in this property, make it fun, create FOMO. And if you're like, Amy, I am horrible at writing, that's okay. Take into account that we can use AI to help us write those blurbs. So it might be like, hey, you're a marketing genius, Chat GPT. I need to sell this property that's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. It's got a gorgeous backyard, fireplace, swimming pool, large kitchen, perfect for entertaining. Can you please create a marketing blurb of less than 500 characters or 500 words, whatever you're maxed at, of what it would be like to live in this property? And it will spit that out for you. Then you can go in there and change it and edit it, revise it, do whatever, but that's going to get you started. Okay, make it fun. Okay, if the house is hideously ugly, like make the blurb funny about the house being hideously ugly. Maybe not if your sellers think it's gorgeous, but maybe you've got like a property that was trashed, or it's been a tenant occupied home for 20 years and it's just like never been updated. Like, make it fun. Okay, so now that we have the photos, we've talked about staging the property just with its own furniture and clearing it out. We could also bring in furniture as well, like a staging company. We've got the description going in the right direction. Then you can actually start marketing, which is going to lead to either getting your listing sold or generating leads. And even better, it's going to do both. Okay. Goal here, get the listing sold and generate some leads. So let's talk postcards. Okay. Remember that we want to interact with potential sellers as much as possible, especially people in that same neighborhood, and especially those neighbors that can see that for sale sign, because we know that somebody's going to sell their property. So I would recommend sending out at least 3 different postcards during your time on market. We're going to send out a just listed postcard. If you're in an area where you could do a coming soon, I would do the coming soon. You could still do a coming soon and then a just listed if you wanted to. I would do under contract and I would do closed. Okay, 3 postcards. Our system through One Design allows us in one print. You can actually do postcards. They will pick the neighbors for you. You let them know like radius around the property, or you can draw the area that you want to send those postcards to. So you don't even have to like research and find those addresses. The system will do it for you. Okay, now with these postcards, I want you to spin your story. So we're not just going to be like coming soon, right? Under contract, close. Like anybody can do that. We want to spin the story so that it's not just a typical card. Okay, for instance, on your under contract card, maybe we're not just going to say under contract, but maybe you put it in contract over asking, or maybe you put it in contract on the first 7 days on the market, on a market where, it takes 20 days to get an offer on average, right? Maybe you put it in the contract with no inspection contingency. What's going to grab that future seller and get them to want to call you? I would share that story. Okay, does this make sense to everybody? It's not just going to be under contract. And I wouldn't say pending, because most people don't know what pending is. I would say under contract or something that, but then again, share that story. Why would somebody choose you? What did you do that's better than the other agent? Okay, I would recommend sending the postcards to at least 100 people. Okay, and for each postcard, whether it's coming soon, under contract, closed, right, just listed, we're going to send it to the same group of people. So it's going to go to the same list. So the nice thing is on like one print, you can go in there and create a mailing list and save it 123 Sample Street. And then we know that every time we send postcards, we select that mailing list. You only have to do it the first time. Okay. So that's our postcards. I would absolutely send out postcards. Make them pretty. So now let's talk about social media. Okay, so here again, you need to stand out. So I want you to spin the story of the listing to drive interest and interactions. Share the listing on your page. If you have a business page, share it on there, and then share it to all groups that you can find that are housing related, or the what's going on in area groups. Okay, look for neighborhood specific groups. And don't forget that you can market things on Nextdoor as well to the specific neighborhood. Okay, so just some ideas there. Also think bigger, right? Who's commuting distance to your area? Who's moving to the area? right? So find housing groups on social media in that area of those people that would be moving to your area and share it there as well. Okay, is this making sense to everybody? We want to get it out there. And again, each time we kind of want to share a different story as well. Change up the blurb, change up the main photo. The other thing that you want to do too is don't post the link for the property in the original post. Okay. Anytime we go to take people away from social media sites, they bury our posts and it doesn't get in front of as many people. So you want to post a couple of pictures of the property, the marketing blurb that you're going to use, and then you can post the link for more information in the first comments. Okay. In addition to that, please post a link to your website. Capture those leads. Please do not send them to other companies' websites, like those ones that start with Z and R. Please don't just share the berries link where it doesn't capture any information. Like go on, for us, that's OneSuite. Go on your OneSuite, your website, find the listing there and share it from there. That way people start clicking on things. They want to contact an agent to go see it. They're being directed directly to you and not to somebody else. Don't let your hard work be wasted. Okay, on social media, just like the postcards, you want to share the story as you move through the transaction. And again, we want to point out how you excelled in each step, how you excelled when it went on market, maybe when the appraisal came in, maybe contingencies removed. Like for me, if the appraisal came in at value, I'd be like, oh, another win for the appraisal packet, right? For every one of my listings, I complete this inclusive appraisal packet, complete with hand-picked comps for the appraiser, right? Whatever that is, depending on all the features. And this ensures that I get value on the property every single time, right? So I might share something like that, okay? We may want to share when those contingencies are removed, when we're cleared to close, and then when we are closed. Our goal here is that we're posting about this listing even after it's in contract, probably just about weekly, okay? In addition to posting, make sure you interact with those who interact with your post. Message them, dig for more information. Are they looking to buy or sell? Are they a neighbor, right? Oftentimes what'll happen, at least on Facebook, is you get people that'll comment on it and they'll tag somebody else. So then, oftentimes I'll click on that original post or I'll send them a message of, hey, I saw here that you tagged so-and-so in the post about the listing on Sample Street. Are you interested in viewing it? Right. And then I'm going to look on to see if in their relationships or if I can figure out who they tagged, if it's a spouse or a child or whoever, right? I'm trying to kind of figure out what that connection is. Then I'm going to go to that person. I'm going to message that person and say, hey, so-and-so tagged you at a post about the listing. Here's the listing details. Let me know if you're interested in seeing it. It sounds like, Betty thought that this would be something that would be of interest to you, right? So take that opportunity to build relationships by interacting with them. Always like or comment on each comment or post as well, right? So if you post and then somebody comments something on there, make sure you click on the little emoticon icon and select anything but thumbs up to respond back to it. Even better would be to reply to their comment, right? And then send them that direct message as well. Okay. Finally, one last piece of marketing could be circle dialing. Okay. Remember, we want to make sure we stay compliant with the TCPA or the Do Not Call registry, but getting the numbers to solidify your name and relationship with those that you've also been sending postcards to, or it's going to give you a leg up. Okay, so oftentimes you can get these lists of phone numbers from the title company. It usually costs like a few pennies per phone number. It's usually already scrubbed against the National Do Not Call registry, so they're usually safe numbers. But remember, we door knocked around that listing for our open house. We've sent out postcards for that listing, right? So we're sending out those postcards. So it'd be great if we can call those people as well. That way they're seeing your name and face on the cards. They're seeing you share your story. And now they've either talked with you or heard your message on their voicemail. Okay. We just want to solidify us as somebody who's going to work hard to get properties sold so that when they choose to sell their house, they're going to choose us. You're trying to earn their business. Any questions about turning your listing into a marketing machine? All right, moving right along. Systems and processes. So again, remember, we always want to be developing systems and processes around each step of generating leads from listings. Um, and again, these may not be activities that are done every week, but you should have a plan for every time you have listings. Okay, you should know that when you're putting the sign in the yard, the activities leading up to the first weekend's open house. You should have templates set up for what postcards you're going to use, templates set up for your social media posts. You should also know and write down what platforms you're going to use, right? What social media platforms you're going to use, what hashtags you might use, and what groups are available to post in depending on the location of the listing. Okay, this makes it easy that we can just set it and forget it. We know we've got a new listing. We know it's in Vacaville. Here's my list of Vacaville related groups that I want to share this listing to, or here's the hashtags that I'm going to use for this listing. Okay, we want to make it super simple. We want to know what we're going to do week 1 on the market, week 2 on the market, week 3 on the market, week 4 on the market, probably up until like week 6 to 8 on the market. If it's still active, what are we going to do on social media? What are we going to do for calling or door knocking? Okay, and then what happens once the property enters into contract? What do we do then? Okay, and then also make sure that you have your 12 by 1 and your 1 by 8 set up for the leads that come in for that listing. How are we going to connect with them to move them from captured to converted? Okay, so leads from listings. That's the end of that one. Did anybody have any questions, thoughts, or ahas?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this particular case, my listing is in Sacramento and I'm dealing with Metro.
Okay.
So how do we don't go live for maybe another 2 weeks? And I know if I'm not mistaken, MetroList has a rule against that early, coming soon and all of that
Yep.
stuff. So how do I navigate around that regarding like postcards and going door knocking from, you know what I mean? That's the challenge I've been trying to figure out.
Yeah, so you won't be able to market that property before it goes on the market or before 24 hours. So like if you were going to go live, 2 Thursdays from now, the Wednesday before you go live in the MLS, you can absolutely start marketing it at that time per the clear cooperation policy, which means your sign should go in the yard the day before you go in the MLS. You could go door knock that property the day before you go in the MLS. You should have postcards set. So remember, it's going to take a few days for postcards to be delivered. So if I'm going to go live on a Wednesday or Thursday, I'm probably going to mail those postcards out for just listed on like Monday or Tuesday, because then at the earliest they're going to hit, especially if I'm going standard mail versus first class to save a couple pennies on each stamp, then they're going to get delivered either on Wednesday or Thursday, probably, or sometime that week for just listed. So you just want to plan accordingly. We don't want to start marketing it to the public before 24 hours before it's in the MLS, because that's what the rules state. But we want to make sure that we're planning for that on market date and to start that marketing the day before.
Okay, got that. Now, one more follow-up question
Yeah.
regarding that. So in this particular case, we were supposed to go live this coming week, I believe the 15th, I think Wednesday or Thursday. But my seller contacted me yesterday. They're going to do a little bit more work inside the house because if you know Land Park, Sacramento, that area, in the house is from like 1960, 1950, can't remember what the year. And back then, like the water heater, for example, was in the kitchen. So
Yeah.
removing the water heater and putting a tankless. So we're having I spoke with MetroList, and
Uh-huh.
what they told me is the day that it goes live, I need to get up early in the morning, like at midnight, the minute it goes live, and then switch to hold because we're not officially open yet. Because I cannot what is it? You know how you have from the time you add the listing into the system, you have 120 days to go live. Well, my 120 days is the 15th.
Oh,
So
okay. So you're butting your head on that time frame.
yeah, so she was telling me you can either sign it, like cancel that agreement, sign a new agreement, and so on and so forth, which to me is like too much of a headache. So she said the other option you have, and she goes, you see this a lot in Sacramento, is that it's hold. You see a lot of hold, and what that hold is that the house isn't ready because they've reached that 120-day limit,
Yeah.
and so they're postponing. And I didn't ask the question, and that's what's coming to mind now is in that case, I still cannot market once I go on hold, right?
Correct. You can't market it until it's available for showings.
Got you. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay. Got you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Good questions. Any other questions on leads from listings?
No, I just had a comment. I don't know if you guys are aware of the new Zillow regulations where they don't want you to advertise your listing prior to 24 hours of going live, or they will not promote it if
Yeah.
you get flagged, which is really freaking annoying.
Yeah, so what used to happen, right, is with berries, you could market it on the MLS as coming soon, which then pushed it out to Zillow ahead of time so that Zillow knew that you were marketing it as a coming soon. And because Zillow's trying to be in good graces with everybody, they're trying to also adhere to the clear cooperation policy, whether or not our MLS cares about it or not. And just so everybody knows, the way that berries has gotten around the clear cooperation policy is because it's not owned by the MLS, it's by our association. So most MLSs are owned by the association. Okay, which means that we fall under all the association guidelines. But Barry's is actually agent owned. It's separate from the MLS itself. It's not owned by or separate from the association. So it's considered agent owned. Which is how Barry's gets around that clear cooperation policy. So if you want to know why does Barry's allow this and nobody else does, that's why. Most of the MLSs are owned by the association, so they fall underneath the National Association of Realtors rules and guidelines. Now that being said, I don't know, and I could be wrong, but if you have a sign in the yard a week ahead of time, I don't think there's any way for Zillow to know that. Or if you sent out postcards ahead of time, I don't think Zillow could know that as well. We just don't want it in berries as coming soon. We want it to only go in berries when it's ready to go live. And we used to be able to too. You used to be able to go in and actually post it as a coming soon inside of Zillow, right? Like a couple of years ago, you could pull up that listing ahead of time. So even if it wasn't in the MLS, you could put it as coming soon in Zillow. So we don't want any of that activity going on because they will bury your listing and it will not show up on Zillow once it goes live.
They will not show it at all, period? Or will they delay it showing on Zillow? I mean, that sounds counterproductive for them.
It does and it doesn't. Adriana, do you know? I think they bury it. I don't think they'll market it.
Yeah, they won't market it.
Yeah. So we want to be really careful with that.
Yeah, so I guess it's be like the old days.
It's like
before Zillow, you just do your thing, and if it's marketed, it's marketed. If not,
yeah. Yeah, so the easy way around that is we just make sure we don't online. It's not marketed in any way as far as a coming soon. But yeah, absolutely.
Big brother beating up on berries.
Well, Zillow got in a lot of trouble this last year. They've had their fair share, so they're trying to follow rules now. Alrighty. Give me just a second. We'll hop over. We've got more time. So we're going to hop into business to business. My goal is to cover as many like lead gen activities as we can this month. So give me just a second to get this up and going.
Amy, I was going to ask a favor.
Yeah.
I know there's a video about this, but I was trying to set up my like the people that I know their address on like a neighborhood watch on berries because Real Scout, as you know, we can't use it anymore.
Yes.
And I could not figure out how to I know how to do the map, but then I couldn't figure out how to add that to start sending it out to someone?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can do it through our website as well. So you can do it either through Berries or you can do it through your through OneSuite now. So even though you can,
Oh, I
and
didn't know
it's
that.
not, but there is some options. So so let me add that to my list. And so for our September calendar, maybe we'll make September Tech Month.
September.
August, September, October, November.
I was gonna say that's a long way from now.
I'm stuck in the past. Neighborhood. Sorry, I'm just writing it down. Updates. I'm sure Abby's writing it down as well to remind me. But yeah, absolutely, we can do that and show you how to set them up both ways.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Give me 2 seconds here. Let me share my screen. There we go. All right. It's coming. All right. So let's talk business to business, right? So again, we want ultimately three methods of lead generation outside of database and leads from listings. If we don't have our database in place and we're not doing the things that we should be doing in our database to interact with those people that are already there, and we're not generating leads from our listings, scrap the rest of these and just start there. Okay. Database should be number one priority. Leads from listings, having systems and processes around those leads from listings should be number two. Okay. And those should be our first priority, both of those. Once we have those two, okay, we're making our phone calls in our database. We have our newsletter going out. We're interacting with those people. We have systems in place so that we're capturing that business. Because let me tell you, it's sad. It's sad when in your own neighborhood another for sale sign goes up in the market and you're like, man, that neighbor's like 3 doors down. But there's nothing worse than seeing on social media that your really good friend has now listed their property with somebody else. Okay, because you failed to let them know that you were an agent or failed to check in with them on a regular basis.
Or they're just assholes.
Well, we can't fix that. But that is true. That is true. So if we know we're doing everything we can, we're interacting with them, we're reaching out to them, we're sending those emails, we're making those phone calls, we're interacting with them on social media, then at least we know it wasn't us. Like, oh man, I just totally dropped the ball. Okay. There's another agent in our office that I can't tell you how many times she's like, man, another one of my people just listed for sale and it's my fault. Like, I haven't talked to that person in 4 years. Like, why would I expect them to list with me? Okay. And these are like decent friends, right? That they were just not, life gets busy and we're not having those conversations. So we want to be intentional with our database. We want to be intentional with leads from listings, like we just talked about. And then once we're doing those, then we want to start adding additional methods of lead gen to expand our circle of influence and talk with more people. So one of those is going to be our business to business leads. Okay. Now there's like 7,000 different ways you can generate leads. There is no wrong way or right way. There's no one way versus another. So it's kind of whatever suits your fancy. So let's talk about business to business leads. Hold on. We're just getting down there. All right. So, this is what I just talked about. We're skipping that. Dun, da, da, da. All right. Business to business are relationships you create and maintain with business owners for the key purpose of generating referral leads from that business. Okay. We want these relationships to be mutually beneficial, meaning that you should be referring your database to them and they should be referring business to you. Okay. In addition, I would recommend that I would say that you should be adding value to their business. You should be helping them promote their business, in addition to the relationship, right? And that relationship should also add value to your business, right? So we want to create a list of trusted referral partners for our database to use. Okay. My goal would be to be the local go-to for all things someone may need help with, whether it's a dog groomer, a veterinary's office, a place to go get your hair cut, a handyman, plumber, right? Pest control company. So anything house related as well as anything life related. What are your favorite restaurants, right? So we want to create relationships. So who can be your business referral partners? As previously mentioned, like hair salons, dentists, doctors, home service providers like contractors, plumbers, HVAC, pet services, gyms, financial planners, insurance agent, right? No one is off the table. I would recommend, if you're going to go this route and do business to business, that I would recommend that you prioritize businesses that you already do business with, that you already frequent. Okay. You already know and trust these businesses. You're already giving them your business and you've probably already referring them. Okay. Next, you can expand those businesses outside of the people that you just do business with to your clients. Ask, right, to businesses your clients often ask for recommendations for. Start with services that your potential sellers may need, maybe stagers, contractors, handymen, remodel services, right? And then move to businesses your buyers might utilize, things like inspectors, insurance agents, cleaners. Okay. Next, you may want to consider new businesses opening their doors in your service area because they're going to be hungry for business and more likely to want to partner with you and build relationships. Okay. So again, nobody's off the table. Okay. Our goal is that you're going to grow your business while helping them grow their business. So here is, if you've got a business that you do business with, here would be a sample script. If I was going to reach out to that business owner, it might be something like, hold on, I'm just moving screens. Hey, Joe, right? I'm Amy with Realty One Group Fox. I'm in the process of creating a list of preferred businesses and service providers to give to my clients. Since I frequently have clients ask me for a great chiropractor, and I only want trusted companies to refer them to. Since I have already had excellent service from you, would you and your business be interested in being included? Right? Who's going to say no to that? Probably no one. If they do, you probably want to find a new service provider. Okay, great. I like to establish these professional partnerships to help grow each other's businesses as well. So if I'm going to refer clients to you, would you be willing to refer your clients that are looking to buy or sell a home to me with the assurance that I will provide them with the high level of customer service that you expect? They're going to be like, yeah, well, that sounds fair. You're going to refer people to me. I'll refer people to you. Excellent. How about we confirm each other's contact information so that we can get started? Right? Super simple. Nothing scary there, right? Everybody think that's simple enough? Thumbs up.
Yes.
Yes. Fabulous. All right. If they're a business that you haven't done business with, maybe you're reaching out to a new business in the area, or somebody, one of your clients recommended to you that they love, then we have a script for that as well. Hey, Joe, I'm Amy with Realty One Group Fox, and I'm in the process of creating a list of preferred businesses and service providers to give my clients. Since I frequently have clients ask me for a great landscaper, I'm looking for a trusted company to refer them to. I've heard great things about your company. Would you and your business be interested in being included? Right? Again, who's going to say no? No, I've got enough business. I'm good. I don't want any new business. Great. Great. I like to establish these professional referral partnerships to help grow each other's businesses as well. So if I'm going to refer my clients to you, if I'm going to share your information with my database of 500 people, would you be willing to refer your clients that are looking to buy or sell a home to me with the assurance that I will provide them with the high level of customer service that you would expect? Great. How about we confirm each other's contact information so that we can get started? Right? Scripts are basically the same. We just changed a few of the words in the top section to say that, to indicate that you haven't done business with them, that you've heard about them. Okay, super simple there. Okay, in addition to that, I would set the expectation. Okay, if you're going to refer their business to your database of 200 plus people, right? We all said at the beginning that should be our goal, at least 200 people in our database. You've probably got more. That they're going to send you one referral per year. One person that they talk to that's interested in buying or selling a property, they're going to refer to you per year. Get an agreement signed. Maybe you make up some agreement about being on your referral partners list, that you're going to put them in front of your database 3 times a year or 4 times a year. And in exchange for that promotion, that they're going to refer one person to you on an annual basis. Okay. Make sure that you add these people to your database and tag them appropriately. Okay. Add them to the database as a vendor partner or a B2B, right? And so tag them appropriately, and then also put them on a 30 plus to connect plan. Really be a 30 plus to convert. Okay, your 30 plus to convert here is going to be a little different than your regular check-ins in your database when they're a business-to-business partner. Because when you call them, you want to check in on them and see how their business is going. If they issued a coupon for you to share with your customers, have they had very many come in? Let them know what steps you've done to promote their business, and ask if there is something you can do to help them grow their business further, right? And then, as always, ask them who they know who wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. If they send you a referral, make sure to call and thank them for that referral immediately. Okay. And maybe also give them a token of appreciation if they do refer someone to you, because we want to reward that behavior. Okay. Your vendor list. You want to have your business partners or businesses on a vendor list. I would recommend that you want it to be easily able to access it and share it with people that need recommendations. So you can use a service like LiveEasy that we have free access to, or Google Sheets, where you can keep it updated and handy, and then share those links with your clients, not just the list. That way, anytime you update somebody, you add people to the list, you take somebody off, that list is always up to date. Okay, that's kind of the nice thing about LiveEasy or Google Sheets, is that they always have that updated version, unlike a PDF list. Okay, in addition to that, you may want to join a business networking group or create one, right? These are where groups of business owners come together on like a monthly basis or a quarterly basis. They usually have an educational portion as well as an expectation to share referrals within the members. Okay, you could start your own business networking group, and you could make it like an open group where any business owners could come and go as they please. Or you could create more of an exclusive group where you approve members, you only allow one in from each business type, right? And then you help to facilitate referrals between members and bring in speakers to add value to the business owners that are part of that group. On an exclusive group, you can set that expectation that members refer to another member at least once per month or once per quarter or year to each member, right? To maintain their membership in that group. So you can set rules and regulations up for that. You can set those expectations. Okay. You can level up your relationships by giving them additional exposure for their business. Maybe you're going to feature a business each month in your newsletter. Maybe you're going to conduct social media spotlights or live interviews on a monthly or weekly basis. Maybe you're going to include them in your marketing materials, right? You could provide co-sponsorship opportunities for things like events or newsletters. Ask if you can put out some business cards in their business, their place of business, right? Like on their front counter, bring your own card holder. And make sure that you regularly follow up with them. Check in quarterly in person, ask if they need more business cards, remind them about the referral agreement, right? So do those things to level up that relationship. Some additional ways to level up business to business relationships would be maybe work with business owners to get specials or coupons. I had another agent that was working on this a few years ago. He's no longer with us, but in the business, that is not, he's still with us, but he's just not in the business. But he was going to do like a coupon and do like business cards, right? Super easy to print in like Canva or even on One Design or One Print, featuring the local business with branding that had some sort of coupon that could be handed out at open houses. It could be mailed out to your database or passed out if you're doing a farm. The business card size makes it easy for them to keep that in their wallet. Okay, and even bigger bonus if the coupon is good for a while, like a month or a period of time versus a one-time use, because it's going to encourage them to hold on to that and keep it longer. So it's got your business information as well as theirs, right? You can include referral partners in your client appreciation events. You can encourage them to invite their customers, which allows you to grow your database with their customers. And then you can put those people on the 12x1, the 1x8, and the 19+2 Connect. Okay. Another idea is to organize community events featuring multiple local businesses, right? Sky's the limit. It's coming up to October. We could do like a harvest festival. You could bring in invite all your vendors or do like a trunk or treat, right? Find a parking lot, invite the other business vendor partners to come in and do trunk or treats, and then market it to everybody's database. Make sure you're tracking referrals and reward those top business partners. Maybe for one event, you offer a free sponsorship space for your top partner, or you send them on a weekend getaway, or maybe even like a consultation with something that's going to benefit their business, like a zero-based tax professional or another professional that's going to benefit their business. Maybe you send them to like a business training or planning session, right? Something fun. And then make sure to join and engage with the local chamber of commerce, right? Attend all the ribbon cutting ceremonies, build new relationships with those new business owners. So just some cool things there that you can do to create those business to business relationships. Okay. If this is a method of lead generation that you're going to choose to employ in your business, some action steps that you might want to do is identify 5 businesses to reach out to each week. Make sure you're practicing and committing to memorize the referral scripts, and then make sure that when it comes to scripts, you can personalize them a little bit, but I wouldn't recommend making too many changes. These scripts have been proven to work. They're effective. So the more that you practice it, the more natural it's going to sound. So if you read through it and you're like, I sound like a robot, just practice it more. It becomes more second nature. And then you can change up a few of the words, but I wouldn't change it up too much. Make sure to set up your digital vendor list and then build your touch points for business owner specific 30+ touch campaign with the phone calls, emails, and networking opportunities. Okay. In addition to that, identify and build out your weekly rhythm. What day will you interview a business owner? What will you use to edit and clean up the interview? Where will you post or share those interviews? What day of the week will you call new partners to talk with them? When do you order new co-branded coupon cards? When do you visit them to stock up business cards, right? Take time to map out all these steps. That way, as you start getting busier with business, things don't get dropped, because what often happens is we do really good lead generating until we get 1 or 2 deals going in, right, in escrow, and then we drop everything to focus on those escrows. And then what happens is the escrow closes and you're like, man, I don't have any more business. Why don't I have more business? So to make it more consistent, if we set up these weekly plans of here's what we're going to do on each day, then even when we have things in escrow, we're still executing our lead generation plans and our follow-up plans so that we have consistent business throughout the year. Okay, the goal isn't close one and start looking for your next one. Your goal is I'm always looking for my next transaction. That way we can scale our business and grow. Any questions about business to business relationships? All right, fabulous. Hopefully you enjoyed this week's lead generation methods, leads from listings, and business to business referral relationships. We will be back next week, I believe. We should be back. It could be next week or not, but we'll be back next time with more lead generation ideas. Also, we've got business planning come up, and then Adriana mentioned doing showing you how to set up the neighborhood updates in both your OneSuite and on Berries and through the MLS. So I can show you guys how to do that. We'll probably set that up for the beginning of November. We'll kind of focus on some of the tech to support your business during that time frame. So hope you guys had a fabulous day. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for being on today.
All right. Bye-bye.